Hello, and welcome once again to the Secrets of the High Demand Coach. And I'm here with, you guessed it, yes, another high demand coach. This is the one, the only Nicki Krawczyk. And as the visionary CEO and founder of Nicki K Media, Nicki Krawczyk loves to challenge the conventional norms of live launching and traditional evergreen strategies. Her proven methodologies provide course creators with a predictable path to success, freeing them from the stress and limitations of outdated approaches. Nicki enjoys exploring the world through travel, seeking new adventures, and nurturing her growth mindset. Her unwavering commitment to continuous improvement mirrors her dedication to helping others succeed. She's also the host of 2 podcasts, Build Your Copywriting Business and Energize Your Online Business. And she is here with us today. Nicki, so excited to have you on the show. I'm wondering, before you got into helping course creators and other entrepreneurs, what were you doing?
Yeah, it's a great question. My background is in copywriting. I've been a professional copywriter for more than 20 years now, writing for billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar conglomerates, all those big companies down to solopreneurs and every size business in between. And actually what got me into course creation was way back when, probably like 15 years ago. I was working for a company, writing copy for a company, and they asked me to build up a team of copywriters. They had acquired a new website and they needed a whole bunch of copywriters and a whole bunch of copy. And the funny thing is that you can't learn copy, or at least at the time, it was really hard to go out there and learn copy. You couldn't major in copywriting in college, which is a little wild, but ended up working out really well for me. So long story short, I taught a group of writers to become effective copywriters. And as soon as we finished that and I kind of set them loose on the website, I thought, I wonder if I could put together a course that would let people learn in the same way. A lot of practice involved, a lot of training, all of that kind of thing. And so I put together a course in 2012. Little baby entrepreneur me, I thought, if I just put out a course, everybody's going to buy it. It's going to be such a great course. People will buy it. And of course, I know now, and actually very quickly back then, that that's not actually how it works. So from roughly 2012 to 2018, I was selling that course and certainly coaching our students, and thankfully they were having some big wins, and it was really affecting their careers, but there just weren't a lot of students because I wasn't selling it very effectively. Because I was trying all the things, right? All the things that we're told. You have to live launch, you have to make it a membership. Oh, don't make it a membership. Do that, all that kind of stuff. So then in 2018, I got sick of just listening to all of the echo chamber of advice. And I stepped back and said, okay, what do I know? I know messaging. I know messaging like nobody's business. I know consumer psychology. I also know that I don't want to live launch because it is so incredibly stressful and so unpredictable. So what I did was I took a step back and I created a system to sell at that point, it was just selling the copywriting program, to sell it on autopilot and to make those sales every single day in a way that supported my students to purchase it at the time that was right for them, but also created urgency and gave them a real reason to want to get started right away. And for that program, in 2018, I made $40,000 on that program, which is the most I had ever made at that point. In 2019, I made $268,000 on that program. And in 2020, I made $1.6 million.
Wow.
Yeah. So just by changing up the way that I sold it, I was able to 40x my income. And obviously we've grown since then. We're a multi-7-figure per year program, but that system that I used to sell the copywriting course, I now also teach other course creators, other coaches, other group program creators to sell in that same way. And that's what we now call our circuit sales system.
Wow. So I just want to, it's 40x. Not, just in case folks are listening, didn't catch that, 40x in 2 years. And I mean, that's amazing. I think there's quite a number of people who would like that kind of growth. So to tell us a little bit more about this sales process that you have, the circuit sales system. How did it create those types of results?
Well, there are a couple of things really. Number one is that it's set up to work with the person who we want to purchase. There's so many things that we do in the digital space that we think works for us, but doesn't actually work for our audience. Things like, oh, show up for my webinar at 6:00. Okay, we've all been doing that for a long time, and that's a tactic we've all been told to do. But here's what it looks like in real life. Scott, you've probably done the same thing. You sign up to attend a webinar and you go, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm interested in what this person has to say. I'll show up at 6:00. And as the day goes on, your day gets busier. Things happen. Maybe your siblings drop off their kids and you have to be aunt or uncle, or just stuff happens. And all of a sudden you can't attend that webinar that you were interested in anymore. Well, for you, it's like, oh, I miss out on that. But for the business owner, they missed out on someone who is quite possibly very likely to purchase from them, effectively penalizing us for having a life. And that's what we do in so many different facets of the way that digital marketing currently works. And that's really just kind of one problem with it. I can be happy to go into so many of the other ones. You probably have to stop me.
That's funny. So coming alongside them, working with them, I love that approach. And interestingly enough, goes very much inside with the previous episode that we just released, where we're talking about sales and doing it in a relational and collaborative way. What are some of if we were to break that down into steps, what are some steps that we can follow to make sure that we're really doing this with and not even against our market and our potential clients?
Absolutely. Well, there are two things. You have to make your sales materials accessible to people, but at the same time, you have to balance that out with adding urgency. So, for example, on our sales system, we have a video that probably looks from the outside a lot like a pre-recorded webinar, that kind of thing. And we could talk in a second about why it's actually so very different. But we have a video, but it's a video that it's available on demand. And we give people a certain number of days to watch it. And we actually encourage them to split it up over a couple of days and remind them over a couple of days, because most people don't have an hour or an hour and a half to sit down. Even if it's something they want to watch, the vast majority of people don't have that time to sit down. But at the same time, we still have to give them a deadline to watch it, because human beings don't take action if we don't have a deadline. So we need a deadline to get them to consume our information, but then also a deadline to make the decision to purchase. I think one of the most common mistakes I see from business owners and coaches when they've gotten sick of the chaos of live launching is they say, all right, well, fine, then I'm going to, I get it, I hear what you're saying, I want to make it accessible for people. I'm just going to put it up on my website and let them purchase it at any time. That one type of evergreen. And the problem with that is that when people can purchase at any time, they just don't. Right. So I have so many tabs open on my computer of things I'm kind of interested in purchasing, but until somebody tells me you can only get it for this time, or you can only get a discount until this point, I'm not going to bother to make that purchase. And I am absolutely not alone. It's just how human beings work. Yeah. So we really kind of have to balance out, and obviously this is just one small part of the whole system, but we really have to balance out supporting people in consuming information in a way that works with them and their schedules and their learning styles, but also giving them deadlines to support them in taking action and making a decision one way or the other. Maybe they will decide to work with you, maybe they won't, but that deadline supports them to make that decision.
Yeah. I'm both excited about this and cringing about this, because I've done all of these things the wrong way, but I've also seen them work the right way. I love the balance between the two, because it's not one or the other. You have to really manage both. That's really, really smart and really important. If you were to kind of boil it down, where would you say most course launches go wrong?
This is a fun one, because I think most people go, wait, what? I think the number one place that most course launches go wrong is they teach too much, or even just that they focus on teaching. And I don't blame anybody. There's a lot of advice out there that says, no, just teach, give away your best stuff, teach them everything, teach, give them that little win, and then they're going to want to buy that big win from you. And there are lots of problems with that. The first one is this concept of the little win. When we give someone a little win, when we teach them something, most people, when they get that little win, they go, oh, okay, all right, well, I have this now. So I'm going to focus on using this and focus on getting the most out of this. Oh, that big win, I'm going to come back to that later. I'm going to focus on this little win. Then there's another group of people that says, oh, okay, I have this little win. And I understand why this little win is the way it is because you taught me. Thank you. I get it now. So I think I could probably figure out that big win. So I'm not going to buy it from you. So we have those two problems to begin with. On top of the fact that fundamentally learning is an energy draining activity.
Well, yeah.
Yes. And the when people first get in touch with us, right? Or when people first follow us, when people get on our email list, they're at the peak of excitement for what we have to offer and for the solution that we have. And when we take them from that peak of excitement, and number one, most of us take them from that peak to excitement and go, oh, great, you're interested in what I have to offer? Come back in 3 months when I'm ready for a launch. So there's that problem. But that problem aside, what we do is we take people who are at this peak of excitement and say, awesome, great, sit down with me and I'm going to teach to you for 45 minutes, or I'm going to teach you for an hour, or across 5 days. And the thing is that fundamentally learning is an energy draining activity. You know, there's a reason why in school or even in college, when you get the opportunity to choose your courses, you're not going, yeah, right, let's get to class. You're going, all right, I'll go to class, drag yourself. Even as business owners, when we buy courses all the time, and Scott, I'm gonna guess you do the same thing that I do. You buy a course, you're like, great, and then as soon as you have the course, you go, oh man, I'm gonna be trying to go through this course. Shoot, it's what human beings do. So instead of putting that learning before the purchase, we need to put the learning or leave the learning after the purchase, where learning is obviously very, very important. We want them to learn, but we need that after the purchase for when we can support them in doing that and give them a community. And also we have a reason to give that community because they've paid us to do that. Before we get to that point, what we need to do instead of teaching is opening their eyes. We need to be giving them paradigm shifts, showing them why the things that they've tried before haven't worked and what does work and why. So to the outside, it could almost, because we structure it similarly in a 1, 2, 3 manner, just to make it easier for people to replicate as they're creating their own circuits. But there's a very big difference between, I'm going to teach you how to do this, then I'm going to teach you how to do this, and I'm going to teach you how to do this, versus opening people's eyes to what hasn't worked and why it hasn't worked and what does work and why it works.
Yeah, that is so good. And again, once again, very guilty of that at various launches. There's so much stuff in here. If you're, and it's not just for courses, right? It's sales, it's communication, it's building your consulting practice, it's building your, your clientele list at your salon. It's all of those things can all benefit from this. So there's a question though that I want to ask you. I ask all my guests, and it is this: what is the biggest secret you wish wasn't a secret at all? What's that one thing you wish everybody watching or listening today knew?
I think the problem with the biggest secret is that it's just not very sexy. And people hear it, they go, oh, it's got to be something better. It's really that it's the two biggest things that separate the people who are successful and the people who aren't are consistency and persistence, which is so not what people want to hear. They want to hear like, oh, if you just use this tech, or I found this software. But really it's sticking with it when you don't feel like doing it, when you feel scared, when it's out of your comfort zone. And also, yes, there will be times in business to pivot, make tweaks, certainly test things out, but consistency, doing the things, even like I said, like you don't want to do it, and sticking with it. So it's not fun. Nobody wants to hear that answer, but it's really the truth: consistency and persistence.
Yeah, it's so true. It is so true. I remember, I can't remember who said it, but they said being a pro is doing what you love on days that you don't want to do it. And it's like, yes, it's like both of my boys, my two oldest are boys. They were both with me in the car at the time. I was like, did you hear that? Like, listen right here, because it's so true, right?
Yeah.
And I think particularly in the world of course launches and online digital, we're looking for these kind of get rich quick. We're looking for, things that I don't have to work for. And what I see behind the scenes every time I get an opportunity to look back on really successful launches, there's a lot of work that goes into it. But it's the right kind of work. And it's the work that is actually working, right? There's a success that comes from it. And so I love that. I could not agree more. And I love that it came from somebody in a space that many people go to sometimes try and avoid both consistency and persistence. And so, yes, I love that. I think it's fantastic. So there's folks listening. They've got a launch coming up. They've done this wrong in the past. They know that there's something to it and they want to learn more. How can they connect with you and take the next step?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow us certainly on social media on Circuit Sales System. And if you're interested in learning a bit more, digging in, kind of looking and seeing what it looks like from the inside, go to circuitselling.com and sign up for the video.
Fantastic. All right. Well, Nicki, thank you so much for being on the show. It's just an honor, privilege having you. Such a fun and really, really helpful conversation. I know it impacted a lot of folks. And for those of you who are listening, you know your time and attention mean the world to us. I hope you got as much out of this conversation as I know I did. And I cannot wait to see you next time. Take care.